forgive me in this blog in advance for kind of talking about the same. This is probably the third time I'm doing this particular topic, maybe fourth if you blend in some other elements to the conversation. But I'm talking today about the difficulties and the factors involved in writing a black villain or bad guy or monster, killer, whatever it is in your story that you need, right? We are in this post-Black Panther era, and even as writers, we have been affected in our books and our comics because we used to have mixed stories, and we was like, the token thing was kind of affecting us. We didn't want to have all black. We wanted to have at least a few white people in there. And then very conveniently, if you want to have a black hero, which really is your main protagonist, you probably put him up against a white person, a white villain, and it was very easy. A lot of people did it. A lot of stories did it, right? Then you thought, then after Black Panther, you were like, wow, we could have a black villain and not turn off other readers or writers or viewers, sort of like Kung Fu movies where they have a whole Asian cast and you don't, the uncle doesn't look like you, but he got killed and the character's got to go revenge his uncle or the teacher, So that also works with books. Now we're looking at all black everything. And in light of this Harriet Tubman movie controversy, it's more than just the creating of a fictitious character that was based off real people, Big Along, to be the villain. It was really almost the villain too. It's like all of these, all of the factors came into one. It wasn't just the fact that he was a black slave catcher. It was the fact that he was a black villain trying to stop a black hero, right? And that became like, oh my God, what's the big deal? And for me, it was empowering because it said that she was so good that the white villains couldn't stop her, and they needed a black villain to stop her, and the black villain couldn't even stop her. So that kind of worked for me, right? But then the question became, what is the image of having a black villain, period, right? Where do we get that from? How do we, what is a black villain? And I think I have made a blog about, the problems with writing Big Along's character and getting black people to identify with him. And, especially it being a true story or a story that people were very familiar with, they didn't know this black villain character. And so I felt that the story could have used a little bit of background on Big Along, But then in other stories where you have black villains or you need black villains, how does that play out? How does that factor in? Again, like I said, I'm restating some things that I've said before, but I hope that I'm bringing some new ideas to it because I didn't really listen to all the clips that I made before. But black villains, what makes a person bad? What makes a person want to stop a hero? What the hell, especially somebody, we're at war. What the hell why would you do that? You understand what I'm saying? Why would you stop somebody that's trying to help your people? I'm watching The Godfather of Harlem, and you know, it's the gangster stories. You know, a lot of them cut each other down. If you ever expect a gangster to sort of be community-minded or think of the bigger picture or anybody other than themselves, you might lose out. They're all like Sith Lords, you know what I'm saying? The one that doesn't snitch is like a rarity, you know, but in reality, they got to cut somebody down to get to the top. So if they think in me and mines, that's as far as it goes. But then what drives them? Many times it's greed. You understand? Greed is a real good motivation for a villain, right? I just want it for myself. And a lot of people can identify and understand that, right? Black people do get greedy, so we can kind of roll with black greed because we grew up with drug dealers who were killing people because they want it all, you know? So, yeah, you got that. And then next is possibly scorned, demented origin. Where does that come in? And I think, you know, when you're talking about, say, Freddy Krueger in a way, or Jason, I think Mike Myers from Halloween kind of does it the best. He's sort of demented. And they kind of put all of that on mental illness, you know, as big motivation, at least with with Jason, Michael, and Leatherface, you had mental illness. But then, you know, when it comes to just straight evil that has no origin other than, yo, this is bad, I think that's problematic. You know, I was thinking this article on West African religions not having a hell or a devil concept, you know, and that's real in the sense that they don't have one, but as an African American culture, we sort of don't have one either, in the sense that we hear devil, we hear hell, but then we modify it. We may say, all right, but why were they so bad? You know, there's something, and then when you explain to people the motives, they get it. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, he was jealous. So we're not necessarily make excuses for the evil doing. We don't say it's not evil, but we also find a way to understand it. And as a writer, I think that's important. As we emerge and continue down this path to show what black sci-fi, black horror is, I think we will grow into realizing that we see things very much like West African cultures. That, you know, bad is really just a different reaction. It's an overreaction. It's a action based on different loves and variables, as opposed to just being something innately bad. I remember when I wrote my the book that I'm wearing, the shirt. It happened on Negro Mountain, right? Negro Mountain is what I say a place where bad things happen to bad people. Why did I put that that way? Well, I needed something bad to happen, but I didn't want the monster to necessarily be bad, which in this case is the mountain or the spirit of the mountain. I just couldn't understand why something black would terrorize black people that were innocent. And I know Beloved has scorned spirits. I know Gone and Huff, I forgot the name of that movie they talk about in the black and horror noir, but I have it on VHS as Black Evil, which is stupid. But even in that story where you have a vampire that's eating and drinking the blood of black people and killing them, he's a central character, and you learn to understand and sympathize with him, even though he can kill you and eat you and drink your blood, or kill you and drink your blood. where does that come? It comes from our lack of belief in somewhat of a Satan or a hell. And not that Africans or West Africans believe that bad things can't happen. Well, cancer cells are bad to other cells because they kill them. But they kill them to protect the body. So it's like I always would say, oh, look, is that blatant violence that a lion does when they kill an antelope or other forms of the cycle of life? No, they're not necessarily bad because they are necessary deaths, right? Even if you accept that plants, trees, and other life are life, when you eat them, you are killing them, per se. You're growing them to eat them. So after they bloom and they're ready to give off their seeds, you know, like we call fruit, we pull them off the tree and we eat them, you know? And I think maybe they even understand that, you know? Maybe they even are sacrificing their seeds for life. Who knows? But I do know that it may not be perceived, or it may not be a good thing to necessarily do. So because you have that relationship between necessary, useful purpose, the killing takes on a different angle and a different name, right? So it doesn't necessarily be called killing. Killing would be blatant for no reason. So I don't know. I'll just say that it is a factor. It is something that I pay attention to. I don't know if it's 100% true. Maybe it's in transition. Maybe we see bad people as we see West African deities in, you know, same way they are in voodoo or Santeria, where they're deities that can go either way. They can do good things for you. They can do bad things for you. And it's just on how you relate to them and how you live your life. So I think that may be how we see monsters. I know for me, I take in the motive for my monster or my bad guy seriously. And I don't think providing a motive, a background for a monster or a bad guy is takes away from the fear or the violence and the badness of the character. It's not that I would say that I'm giving an excuse. No, sometimes there's no excuse for becoming a serial killer. However, there is a reason and a motivating factor that led to the person becoming a serial killer. So, you know, that's something that I think of because I just personally, I also can't connect, you know, or I connect better. So I don't think stories are bad because they have a bad black person, or I don't think having a black villain chase down a black hero is necessarily a reason to throw out the story. We loved Black Panther, we loved Killmonger, and we do realize that Killmonger wasn't necessarily planning good things, so and wouldn't be considered a good guy, right? Even though he had elements that we may agree with in him, we will accept the sum total of him wasn't necessarily good. However, that didn't make the story bad. Now, some people may argue, oh, he defeated Killmonger, and that proved that Killmonger's agenda was all bad, and they don't want you to go around the world and even the score with black and white people. No, that meant that maybe Killmonger wasn't going about it the right way. He was killing people, or he might have been a wicked ruler, and it wasn't worth risking. That may be one of the things from it, but you know, be mindful of all of that, because people will say that if you defeat the villain, you disagree, or if you have your villain defeated, that you will that you're disagreeing with their agenda. I don't necessarily think so, but be mindful of that. Anyway, let me wrap this up. I don't know. These are just rambling thoughts. Again, this is all I say in my description. Maybe this will spark a thought from somebody. Sometimes when I do these rambling ones, these are the ones that are the best. People like the best. So again, like they always say, like, subscribe, and share. Peace. I'm out of here.